In this episode of OG55, we're talking about that Disney parks or experiences executive shakeup just happened the other day. We're going to talk about what does it mean? What is Josh D'Amaro up to? Up next on OG55. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55. I am joined by the Italiano. Today, we're talking about that Disney Experiences executive shakeup. They are making moves over there at Experiences. We're going to talk about it. We're also going to speculate as to what we think this might mean. There could be pretty big ramifications here. Before we dive right in, the Italiano, where can everybody find you on social media, sir?
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky under the Disney Italiano. And of course, you can find me right here on my home base on Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info.
There we go. We're going to go ahead and start off with the man, that guy, Mr.
Oh my God, I'm really that guy.
That guy.
Yeah, bitch, I'm out.
You don't want to play too much. I don't want to get copyrighted. I love Tyler, the creator, but I don't want to get copyrighted. But Jack is absolutely that guy. Fantastic content creator, DSNY newscast. Make sure you follow and show him all the love and support both here on X, Blue Sky, Instagram, and on YouTube. He says here, Disney Experiences executive changes. Ken Potrock, formerly the Disneyland president, is now president of major events integration. We'll get into that in a second. That's interesting. Thomas Maslam, former Disney Signature Experiences president, is the new Disneyland president. Scott Choate is, and I'm probably mispronouncing his name. Sorry, Mr. Choate, if you're watching this. Joe Choate is the new Disney Signature Experiences president. So, well, here, let me go ahead and read this too so we can kind of get an idea what P-Dog, Mr. Potrock, is up to. In this role, Potrock will be responsible for developing comprehensive cross-company plans to maximize the value of large-scale sports, entertainment, tourism events ranging from the 2028 Los Angeles Olympics to the 250th anniversary of the nation. Wild stuff here. That's a new role, I believe. So that's interesting right there. But overall, George, what are your thoughts on this? What do you the switch? Thomas, becoming the new Disneyland president, Potrock going into this new position. What are your thoughts on this?
So for me, immediately I thought, especially when they were announcing that this was Josh D'Amaro's decision making, I thought of a couple things that either D'Amaro is trying to showcase himself to say, hey, I could play big too. I want a jab at that CEO chair, so let me show you what I can do on my end. So to try to prove himself, he's doing some major shakeups, so, or could it possibly mean that D'Amaro already knows he got the CEO position? God help us. Nothing against him as a person. I'm for sure he's a great guy. I got to meet him in person. Really nice, very friendly, but since he had the role of Parks and Experiences chairman, nothing has been, there's things that have been earmarked to be open, projects in line, but nothing has actually opened under his watch as chairman.
Yeah, he's had no major projects really open on his watch. I've said it before too, and I agree with you that I think he seems like a really nice dude. I've never met him personally, but everyone I've ever known, including yourself, George, has always said he's a solid guy in terms of his personality. He's very likable, obviously very handsome, all that good stuff. But I agree with you though. His tenure so far as the Experiences chief has been really, really underwhelming. Yeah, I also, look, we talked about this last night, right? This could mean those two things, exactly what you're saying, George. Either he's trying to prove himself to the CEO succession committee and making those moves to sort of like, you know, impress them because he doesn't have a lock yet in there for that position. Or like you were saying, and like we talked about last night, he already knows he's in there. Like maybe they already made a decision, like low key, and he's trying to set up the experiences division for success when he inevitably moves on and moves up the company ladder, right? So that really, that second one worries me because like I said, I don't really want Josh as CEO, and I don't want him as CEO, not because he's not a great guy. He seems like a really nice guy, like I said, but we need a studio person in there running the company, okay?
And look what happened when they put a parks person in there before.
Right. You look what you had with Chapek. He wasn't equipped. He didn't know how to handle the Hollywood crowd, right? The Hollywood crowd is very fickle. It's very much Mean Girls. You know, you can't sit with us. You got to have that Hollywood thing. He doesn't really have that, although I do think he would fit better than Chapek did based on his personality. But aside from that, even Hollywood in general is going through a seismic shift right now. I said it before, but with streaming and all this stuff, all the studios, whether it's Warner Brothers or Paramount or whatever, even, you know, Universal, they're all going through a seismic shift. Right now is not the time where Disney should be playing around with a parks person running this company that is a studio first before anything else. Okay. The studio feeds the entire machine.
Do we know someone that has said that before?
Yeah, I think we do. Let me see right here.
The real heartbeat of this company was, is, and will always be the film business.
I mean, come on. Roy Disney, the nephew, said it himself. It's the studio that feeds the entire beast. If you don't have any popular movies or franchises coming out of the studio, what are your parks going to do, right? So I don't really trust DeMauro running the studio. I haven't even really been impressed with him running the parks. So that's a problem. Now, here's the thing. Let's just say he does get promoted though, right? Let's just say he's setting up the experiences division for success when he moves on, right? And these changes are kind of meant as to like set this division up for success, and he's going to be promoted. Now, a promotion doesn't necessarily mean CEO though, okay? What it also could mean is they could reinstate the president position at Disney, which they haven't had in a long time, and they should bring it back. If he becomes president of the Walt Disney Company, which is still a promotion, right? If he becomes president of the Walt Disney Company and you have Dana Walden, who is a studio person, who can handle Hollywood, who's worked with conservatives like Rupert Murdoch, and Rupert Murdoch likes her a lot and has talked very glowingly about her. So she does, you know, look, there's a lot of talk out there that she's super woke, and okay, that might be the case, but she obviously knows how to work with the other side of the aisle too. That's important, right? Mm-hmm. So you have her, she knows Hollywood, and then you have DeMauro as the president of the Walt Disney Company. Now that dynamic could work. So if he's getting promoted, it doesn't necessarily mean CEO. And I hope that's the case if he is, because I don't want him as CEO.
I agree with you. I feel you need to work both ends of the demographic. And I feel like that, you know, as much as he is a very sociable person, he's very likable.
Yeah.
I just don't think he has the chops as CEO. I agree with you. Up to this point, since the last D23 is the only time I actually seen a pulse in the Parks and Experiences division under his wing. And yet we're still waiting on news. Where's Pandora going? Where's Coco going? We still crave answers to all these questions that were left for us at D23. And I agree with you. A promotion may not be CEO for him. Look how he even created a new role for Pod Rock. So maybe a new role would be created for himself. It may be like president. It may be titled president, like how it used to be, or maybe it's under a different format. You know,
it could be. Yeah, it could be. I mean,
but I do really quick. I do also want to say too, whoever they decide, and I said this to you when we were talking earlier, whoever they decide to be CEO is also under the watch of Iger, and this is it. This is his last shot to get this right, because there's not he's lucky he got a second chance. There's not going to be a third chance.
There's not a third chance. Yeah. And thankfully there's a lot of people involved with this succession now. The dude from, was it Morgan Stanley, I believe, Mr. Seymour Duck, correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but I do believe he's from Morgan Stanley, and I've heard nothing but good things about that guy. And they do have a whole succession committee, and it's up to that and the board and all this stuff. So thankfully it's not just up to Bob Iger. But you're right though, George, if they put someone in there and it's another Chapek disaster, it's another, even though it's not Iger's decision completely here. I mean, he obviously has a say in it, but it still looks bad on him because this is the second time that he's kind of like, that he's been CEO and has spearheaded a succession and it's failed. So I don't think that's going to happen this time, but it is a huge risk for Bob, because that would taint his entire legacy. Yeah. I mean, so yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it's very, very interesting, these moves. I don't know. It's tough to say.
I have a little bit of a theory as to why Ken Potrock got moved to this kind of particular position, even though it was never there before.
Right.
But he was heavily involved to getting Disneyland Forward greenlit. I mean, he was there consistently during the meetings, during the little pop-up little venues that they did. He worked with the city council and everything. I mean, we watched him live when they were doing the meetings, and he was getting tongue lashed, but he kept his cool. He kept going through, and he was a big part at getting Disneyland Forward greenlit. And it makes me wonder, since he kind of already said it in his own words, he knows the direction they want to go with the Disneyland Resort. And moving forward, we talked about it many times on the channel, the 2028 Olympics are coming in Los Angeles. Could there be a tie-in that he can kind of work both fields, so to speak, that he can kind of do these heavy, big events for promoting and marketing and tie it into Disneyland to get people to visit Disneyland while they're out during the Olympics? Just as one example. I'm for sure there's going to be many events, in Los Angeles and in California as years to come, but maybe there's something there that he kind of knows based off of working with the Disneyland Forward focus groups that can kind of tie into bringing more travelers in.
No, I think you're onto something with that, George. I do think that he handled Disneyland Forward obviously very well because it actually went through, which that was not an easy feat. That was not an easy feat to get that through, and on his watch it went through. So that kudos to him. All the praise goes to him, all the flowers, right? And that could be why, like you were saying, he was able to convince the city council, or not him personally, but like on his watch, they were able to successfully do that. So if you're Disney, if you're Josh D'Amaro, you're looking at this going, okay, he works well with, the local government. Well, I mean, a role like this is kind of perfect for someone like that who can facilitate that kind of thing, like, tourism events, the Olympics, where you're dealing with other countries, other heads of state, right? That's all tied to, like, it's very similar to what he kind of had to do with Disneyland Forward, dealing with the political element, and he was very successful in doing that. So that's a great point, George. I never really considered. Some are saying that this is a demotion for him. I respectfully disagree with that. I don't think this is a demotion at all.
I don't either.
This is huge. This is bigger than Disneyland in a lot of ways. I mean, this guy is going to be coordinating the Olympics stuff on Disney's end. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's huge. Now, right now, he's got a lot on his plate. He's got the 250th anniversary of the country. He's got the Olympics, right? I'm very curious, though, going forward beyond the Olympics and all that stuff, like what other things will come through his division. I'm very curious about that. But even it says here, even large scale sports, this is big. This is really big. This is a promotion, I think, 100% in my opinion. But I don't know. I mean, good for him.
It doesn't stop at the Disneyland Resort for him.
No, it's huge.
It connects you into how many different networks.
Well, and it sets him up for possibility. Maybe now, I don't think this time around, but with this experience of being able to, like with the Olympics, for example, dealing with other heads of state, various other countries, dealing with outside entities a lot, maybe local governments or whatever for these sports events. It sets him up. It puts him in a good position, maybe in, I don't know, 5 to 10 years or whatever it is. Not 5 years, probably like 10 years whenever the new CEO that we're going to get retires, maybe, right? Maybe he would step up and be able to actually become the successor to that person, because now he has all this experience, negotiating stuff with local governments and other heads of state and things like that. That's an important thing to know as Disney's CEO. And that's one really good thing to put on his resume if he ever did want to become the next CEO down the road. So I think this is a great thing for him. It's absolutely a promotion for him. And kudos to him. I've always liked Potrock. I have no issue with him. I think he's done a very, very good job.
I got to meet him on several occasions, actually at Disneyland. I met him during D23 Day, the day before the D23 event started. And then also it was like at the end of the night when I was closing out the park, he was talking to some officials, and I got to talk to him a couple times. And as I said, very, very sweet guy, very, very humbled.
Yeah, 100%. Now, Thomas Maslam is stepping in to become the new Disneyland president. He was formerly with Disney Signature Experiences. Mm-hmm. From what I understand, that was connected to the cruise lines, if I'm not mistaken.
He worked heavily with Disney Cruise Line, Adventures by Disney, any kind of Disney vacation that was aside from the theme parks, like as far as like the higher end kind of tier of Disney vacations. Yeah.
Which, I mean, honestly bodes well. I haven't done an Adventures by Disney. Our dear friend, the lovely Alia Aloha has, and she loved it. She did it twice, I think, actually. Mm-hmm. She absolutely loved it. She said it was a great experience. The cruise line is like second to none, bro. Like you've done it like a bajillion times. I've done it twice. It's A+ material. It's every bit the Disney difference. And so, I mean, if he's coming from the cruise line or connected to that cruise line experience, I'm excited about that, because what that does, what that reminds me of actually is Matt Wee-May. Mm-hmm. Matt Wee-May, who became president of Disneyland, I think in like 2005, 2006, came from cruises as well. And he was a fan favorite. People loved Matt Wee-May. So the cruise line talent is top notch, usually. So I have high hopes for Thomas. I think this is a good move for Disneyland. I really, really do.
I agree. To have someone on that caliber that's coming from Disney Cruise Line and Adventures by Disney, and they know how to cater to the guest experience, which, don't get me wrong, the parks do, but I feel like as time went on, it kind of slipped a little bit. So yeah. I feel like that to kind of regain some of that back and bring those signature experiences back into the parks for that guest experience. As I said, if he can pull it off, again, that is on Damaro's watch. And it's like, then Damaro can kind of have that moment of clarity of saying, hey, I did this. This was on me,
Yeah. So we'll see. Josh is making moves, and I don't know what the motivation behind those moves are. Like we said, it could be, it also could be, here's the thing. We said two things. He wants to impress the CEO succession board. Obviously, he's going to want to do that. Or he already knows that he's like the heir apparent, and he's setting up the division, to succeed after he leaves. It could also be, though, that he's losing ground in the CEO race and he's trying to make up for it.
True.
That's also a possibility. He could be losing ground and he knows it, and he's thinking, okay, I got to make moves, big moves, to impress these guys and gals over there in the succession committee. Because here's the thing, Damaro, the last time you made a big move was D23 Expo or the fan event, right? Now, I don't remember a whole lot of that because I was too busy looking at D23 girl. No, I was kidding. I was kidding. No, he did a great job with the fan event. The parks panel was A+, bro. Go ahead.
Really quick, bro. Hold your thought. I have to say this because you brought it up. I'm sorry, folks. If you were there at D23, we're all hooting and hollering and clapping our hands for the announcements of the projects. And there's OG. He's clapping, but his head's turned.
Yeah, right. Exactly. She had me all kinds of distracted, bro. All kinds of distracted. Yeah, but he did a good job. Josh did a good job, with the expo. And like we've been critical of Tomorrow absolutely on this channel. But when he does good stuff, we're going to say it. I'm going to give him all the flowers and all the credit when he does good. He did good, but he had to do good. So he had to do good at the expo. So maybe he feels like he has to do good right now because he's losing ground. Yeah. He lost ground with the fandom and the PR with the last couple D23s. He knew he had to deliver. So he delivered. If he feels like he's losing ground with the CO thing, he might be turning it up to fix that.
That makes a whole lot of sense because right after these decisions were made was the announcement of the closure of Muppets for Monsters Inc. Now everyone knew that Monsters Inc. was moving into Muppets. Muppet eventually was going to end up closing, but we never had a specific date. So people were already salty enough. And who are they going to aim it at? They're going to aim it at Josh. So if he's already falling down that ladder and days before the announcement of, hey, Muppets is closing on this date, Mama Melrose is closing on this date, construction starts, which I'm very excited for Monsters, but there are the loyalists to the Muppet Vision 3D, which I absolutely love that show. I won't miss it.
Yeah, I'm glad we got to experience it too, like a year and a half ago, because at least we got to go on. At least I got to go on it one more time. Yes. You're probably gonna go. Well,
I'll get to see it. I'll get to see it one last time.
One last time, yeah. So I'm not gonna be there by then, but at least I got to see it once,
Yeah. So, but to kind of lessen a little bit to kind of dilute that sting, he probably thought. I mean, that's not the main reason why he made these moves, but he probably thought, okay, before they get another sting on my name, let me shake up some things with my name first.
Right. It could be a move where he feels like he has to dig himself out of a hole a little bit here. So there's a lot of moves. I mean, look, it's not an accident, the timing of this, where it's like right in the middle of the CO succession race. There's obviously a move here. We don't know the angle. We don't know why, the motivation, any of that, but it is related to that. I'm almost certain.
Yeah.
Almost certainly. He wants to prove himself in some form or fashion, or so it's gonna be very, very
one of those three. It has to be one of those three. Now, which one of those three? Time will tell as we get closer to the CEO race.
Yeah, I just hope he's not the next CEO. And look, if he is and he proves me wrong, I will get on camera like I did after D23 and say, look, the guy is delivering. He's freaking delivering. I'm not one of those people that will dig my heels in and like, if I'm proven wrong, I'm proven wrong. And I have no issue coming on camera saying I was wrong. I'm just really worried about it because I don't think he's done a great job with experiences. You know what I'm saying? And I don't really trust him to run the studio. And again, not because he's a bad dude, but he's not a Hollywood guy. And we're in a very turbulent time right now in Hollywood. We can't afford a parks person to come in there and test the waters. Like that's now is not the time to do that.
Yeah, I agree.
It's a risky move, man. It's a risky move,
and especially it's even more risky of just coming off of a disastrous time, not even just with Disney, but in the entertainment industry with Hollywood, as you had mentioned earlier. This isn't, I mean, let me go back a little bit. You want to have some risk. Walt Disney was all about risk taking, but you also have to be realistic. And when you're dealing with something that Disney is just starting to come out of the trenches now, after almost 5 years of like trying to climb out like everybody else, you can't go making history repeat itself for the negative way of how you got in that hole in the first place.
You want to take creative risks.
Yeah,
I think that's important. You want to take those big swings creatively, but you don't want to put people in positions that are risky. Like you don't want to take someone who doesn't really know that field and put them in there and see how it goes. Like that's it, and especially for the studio, like I said, it's so important for the lifeblood of the Walt Disney Company. That's not the kind of risk you want to take. Risks are good, but you have to play it smart here. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the dude has not run a studio. He doesn't know anything about Hollywood. You know, and that worries me.
That's like someone telling you, "Hey, OG, you're going to be the coach for the Lakers."
Yeah, good luck. Yeah, see how good they do with OG. I don't even watch the games. You know what I'm saying? I hate sports. You know, it would be horrible. It would be a total disaster. You know. Oh God, yeah. I hope he doesn't get it.
Probably bad.
If it becomes the CEO, if Dana's CEO or you know, or a studio person is CEO and he becomes the president, that's all good. I'm fine with that. You know, or if it's like a co-CEO, like a Netflix kind of structure that they enact, which is possible too, because Bob Iger actually met with the CEOs of Netflix to kind of see if this was reported on a few months ago. He met with the CEOs of Netflix to see if that structure would work at a company like Disney. So if they do that, if they have that co-CEO structure and they have Dana and Josh, okay, that's fine. Then you have your studio person in the mix. I'm good with that. But just to have him up there by himself, oh, dude. Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't have much faith. I just don't. I'm sorry. So, yeah. But we'll see. I think overall, though, everything looks good here. I think the new guy, the Thomas for Disneyland Resort, I love that move. I think he's going to do very well. If he's connected to cruises, I think he'll do absolutely fine. But we'll see, man. But overall, George, any final thoughts before we get out of here?
I find it very interesting in the direction that the experiences is going. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm very curious to see what this entails for the future. Like it does have our heads scratching that it doesn't sound bad. You know, it sounds like they're moving in a better direction of kind of like putting things together. And I hope it works out well for the parks and experiences. But I'm just very curious to know what that is.
Yeah, exactly. And just remember, folks, the only experience that really matters is the OG55 experience. but Italiano, where can everybody find you at home on social media, sir?
Absolutely. You can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at Disney George. You could also find me on Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky under the Disney Italiano. And, of course, you can find me right here on my home base on Orange Grove 55 with Citrus Corner with all that sweet, juicy, but sometimes sticky Disney news and info. There
he is. And if you're a member at the time of this release of this video, you can check out George and his fiance tasting the foods and the drinks over there at DCA for the Lunar New Year. Check that out for members only right now. It will eventually become public to everybody. But if you want to catch it now, if you become a member, you can do so. So check that out. It's an in-park vlog, which if you've been watching OG55 for a while, we don't really do those. So this is a unique situation. Absolutely. But thank you all so much for watching this episode of OG55. And until the next time, see you.
Thank you for watching OG55. If you aren't already, consider becoming a member today.